First of all, thank you very much, and a happy new year to everyone, all the panelists and all the viewers watching at home. See, the critical thing is, and I'm going to take this in the agri space, it's very good that the government provided nutritional security to about 80 crore people. It's phenomenal. Now, there must be implementation gaps. I agree to that, but the initiative and intention was good. But what's happening right now, it's slightly more tricky and it's slightly more complex. Okay, and it goes beyond the politics, not Congress or BJP. Please, this is agriculture. So when they shift gears, what they've done is from free ration, they've moved to a scheme under the National Food Security Act of providing subsidized rations.
Yes.
Now you see the shift here. Earlier, the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana had dals in it, but the new amendments don't have dal in it. So now it's only paddy, wheat, and a cereal of choice. It's no longer dal. So it makes a very big nutritional effect on the family's nutrition health. Okay, point number one. Second, right now what's happening, India is in a very precarious situation because last year the wheat harvests were bad, the paddy harvests were below average, and Rishabh and everyone have covered this issue extensively. Imagine what happens if again we get a bad wheat harvest and followed by a bad paddy. Our strategic food reserves are at the minimum right now. They are marginal, and these are government figures. These are not some figures that I've collected independently. All of this is stated by the government. So imagine if this act is in play. Everyone, 80 crore people need rations through it. Keep that in mind, 80 crore people. Okay. Now we have 2 more bad harvests. That means that this act will push the markets towards inflation. There will be a subdued MSP, which will have a problem for farmers later. The third big issue, and I can touch upon these in a little later also. The third big issue is what happens to the vulnerable groups, women and other vulnerable groups, growing children who are right now being given ration for 1 year more. But what happens after that 1 year is over? Will they still get the rations for free? Will the scheme still work? I think these are the 3 important issues that I'd like to contribute right now, and then come back to other issues.
But hasn't these schemes have been able to change the life of the most underprivileged, the poorest of poor sections in our society?
See, that's the point is very well discussed also, but I'd like to raise your view and the audience to a different side.
All right.
When one way we say we are a 5 trillion economy, we are going to be Vishwa Guru and all these things, and on the second hand, 80 crore people in our economy can't earn enough to get their own foods and have to depend on the public distribution system. That's the real test of hunger and how well the economy is doing. That people who produce the food don't have enough money to keep the food and actually take it from the government at subsidized rates. It's a very poor judgment, and I'm being the devil's advocate here, but this is a real question we should all ask ourselves. And of course, fiscal things are very necessary in any economic planning. Look at the case of Zaire from 1960. What the Americans did is they starved out the fiscal reserves of Zaire. They took away all the forex, and then a company called Cargill started to control and dictate what foreign policy Zaire should have. So be very, very smart, because food is not money. Sometimes there is less supply of food because of climate change, because of droughts, because of other reasons. And then people cannot just eat money, you see. So there needs to be strategic reserve.
But sir, what makes you think? What makes you think?
And ma'am, please, in your debate, it was very clearly identified by one of the panelists that the food, we all are for the poor section of society. But this scheme does not help the poor section of society. It cuts their ration, cuts their dal, cuts their oil seeds. So what are we talking about?
You think it's
While
not
you're draining
benefiting?
the economy, you're reducing the nutrition. While you're draining the economy, you're reducing the nutrition. And you have no clear plan of how the farmers are going to be enrolled in this. You see, everything is good in concept, but let's talk details. Let's talk how one part links to the other. And there you find huge gaps.
Okay, I've taken your point. Let me take it across. We're running out of time.